Hello, Deborah. My name is Pat, and I'm one of the construction managers with Epic Homes. And today is Wednesday, September 16th, and we're doing a virtual pre-drywall walkthrough today. I appreciate your patience. I know you come out frequently. I haven't met you yet, but I really look forward to meeting you hopefully very soon. But during this COVID environment, Epic and I have chosen to do these pre-drywall walkthroughs in a virtual fashion. So bear with me today as we walk your house, look at things. We're going to look at all your options, the state of your house, your electrical options, electrical standards, low volt options. We'll talk about everything. We're going to start on the outside and then we'll move to the inside. We will be stopping and starting a couple of times, but this also is something that you can save, and then after you move in, if you need to know where something is, you'll be able to refer back to this video and you'll know what is behind the walls. If you want to hang a mirror, hang a picture, you'll know if it's safe in those locations, what's behind there, what you're looking for. So anyway, welcome. You have selected a what we call a 4095 modern prairie elevation plan. We're going to talk through many things today. I have a little checklist that I'll be touching on these items, and I want to share that with you. And you'll be getting a copy of this. We'll give it to Kyle, and then he'll be sending it to you. But we're going to talk about grading and drainage on the outside, gutter and downspout locations, the window grids, electrical locations, as I mentioned, the low volt and security, pre-wires, the plumbing, mechanical, change orders. We're beyond making any changes to your contract, and then the projected schedule. Any notes that I find or anything that you give to Kyle, we'll be making those notes and then we'll follow up on those. So after you view this video through the weekend, I would greatly encourage you to come out again, see if there's anything you want us to modify before we go to drywall. I have been in a little bit of a delay mode on the interior, and this is due to the municipality. Their lead times on inspections have stretched out a little bit on me, and I'm ready for rough inspections, and we'll be obtaining those rough inspections next week. That'll be the week of the 21st. And then right after all those municipality inspections, we'll be going to insulation and drywall. So we got a few days if there's any modifications you'd like to see made or any questions you have that we can work on or answer for you. We've got a little bit of time. So we're going to start on the outside today, and as you can see, the modern prairie elevation gets stone and stucco and siding, all three applications. I know you've been out and you've seen your house is totally enveloped in scaffolding, and that's for the stucco work. This past weekend and the first part of this week, we have completed the base coat on all of the stucco areas. We have the masonry lath installed as well. The stone will be delivered here in the next 5 days, and right after stucco completes, after the stucco color coat goes on, then we'll be starting the stone install. So first there's a base coat on this stucco. Some cementitious material is troweled on, and then the color coat. The banding is a different color than the field, and you'll see that being applied next week. We have to let this cement coat cure for about 7 days, and then we'll apply the color coat. So as we walk around, you can see on the modern prairie elevation is the only elevation that gets no window grids. So all your windows are clear. There's no gridding in the windows. So the modern prairie gets stucco, stone, and siding, all three combined. Also, you'll see we have what we call the rough gutters. All of our gutters are up so that we can continue with roofing application. We have the downspouts stipulated, and that's where you'll see the penetrations in the gutters. It's kind of hard to see with the scaffolding, but this gutter above the front porch dumps into the gutter above the garage, and then there's a downspout in the front over here. And as long as we're standing here at the front elevation, you can see coach light location next to the single stall garage, and then coach lights on either side of the two car garage. One of the things we're going to do, in addition to walking outside, but as we walk outside, I'm going to be pointing out a few things to you. You've elected some electrical options on the outside and low volt options to be penetrated. And normally I combine the electrical and low volt point out, but we're going to do the low volt separately from the electrical, just because your electrical options are so detailed and so many of them that I'm not going to burden the first video with all of the low volt. So we're going to do all the outside, all of the interior electrical options. Then we're going to do another separate little clip, video clip of the low volt, meaning the technical wiring or tech wiring that you've sat down with JT at iWired and done. So first, as we move around, this would be the south side here. There is an electrical option you've selected, and that's we've got a holiday circuit, and that is up in the eave. You'll see a low volt penetrating there as well, but there is a holiday circuit which is switched from the front entry, and there's another piece of this in the back corner which we'll look at when we get back there. Before we start walking around the house, I want to just briefly point out to you your plot plan, and you should have a copy of this, but if you don't, just ask Kyle and he can shoot you over a copy of it. But what this shows is the entire lot, the dimensions of the lot. It shows the footprint of the house, or the outside of all concrete, the concrete footprint. Those are the darker lines. Civil engineers use dimensions in tenths of feet and elevations in tenths of feet as well. So for example, all these numbers on this plan mean something. For example, this back concrete wall is 25.5 feet in length. You'll see a lot of percentages of grade, and that's how we're going to grade your lot. There'll be a 4% grade to the back. That says 4% here. A dimension, your rear setback is 37.6 feet from the property line. You've got a side property of 13 feet wide. We're going to have a little steep 10% grade and then flattening out to a 3% grade to the adjoining lot. So there's a lot of information on this plot plan, and this will help you when you are sitting down with your landscaper, and they've seen these, they know what this is all about. But there's a lot of general information on here and specific information, Deborah. There's a little key on the bottom right here. It tells you what things are. In the center of plan here, it gives us a TOF, walkout, and finished floor. These are elevations, and everything is stated as in real elevation. So for example, at the FF, or your finished floor, when you're at your dining table, you're going to be sitting at 5,428.9 feet above sea level. So your top of foundation is 5427, and then we got a 14-inch floor on top of that. So your finished floor is 5,428 feet in elevation. You can see we've got the covered patio and back, covered deck. In that stop sign symbol there of 17, that's the number of steps down to grade. So the stop sign tells you how many steps from your finished floor out to the deck is 1 step. From your front door to the front porch is 1 step down. Into the 3-car garage, there's 3 steps. Into the 2-car garage, there are 3 steps from the house down into the garage. So that's what the stop sign symbol represents. A little bump out here, that's a window well location. So you'll see a lot of information on here. If you need any clarification, I'd be happy to discuss this with you in greater detail. But if you don't have this, Kyle can send that off to you. You're on lot 97 of filing 24. Your lot size is 11,318 square feet. Also, your address is 15352 Irving Court. That's in Broomfield, Colorado, 80023. A lot of information on here that's helpful to you for your records, also to help in your landscape planning. So as we move around to the south side of the house, like I mentioned, we're going to walk around the scaffolding, and I'm going to point out what's going on the outsides. Okay, so before we go down the side, Deborah, I want to point out in the front, another electrical feature that you've selected are the soffit lights, or the puck lights and the soffits. And you'll see here at the garage, centered between the 2 beams, there are puck lights installed. We install them at rough. Above, we've got a light in the center, or practically center. There are trusses that come through the front as well. So we have to throw those puck lights off right next to the trusses, so they're just a little bit off center, but that's very typical. So we got the puck lights above next to the front bedroom window, puck lights above the 2-car garage, And you'll see when we come around the other side, we've got puck lights in the soffit in the front face of the street and up high. And I'll point those out to you as we come around the front in a little bit. We've got two above the garage, one on either side of the front bedroom window. And as we move here around the south side, you see us walking down the hill here. We've got the siding installed, exterior penetrations. Got the gas meter up on the garage. That's the gas meter location. We have low volt. We'll talk about that a little later. As I had mentioned, up in the front corner, we've got on the low soffit, we got the holiday circuit. The other half of that holiday circuit is high in the soffit on the back corner. And you can also see that downspout penetration, as I was referring to before. So there'll be a kicker coming back to the wall with the downspout coming down all the way to grade and kicking any roof water out. So the penetrations here on this south wall, we've got an AC connection here, and this is just for a service outlet for the air conditioning. This is the high voltage for one of the condensing units, one of the air conditioning units. We have two in your house, one which services the basement and the main floor, and the other air conditioning furnace is for the upper floor. So we've got the furnace intake and exhaust pipes. The other air conditioning condensing unit, both will pull off the same power feed. There'll be disconnects for each. So this is for the downstairs air conditioner and then the second floor air conditioner. These pipes here are the vents for the double tankless water heaters which you've selected. So we've got venting and intake air for those. This is the main electrical distribution area. XL Energy or United Power is giving us underground power to this location. And this is the emergency disconnect panel because you have selected an interior load center. All of your breakers will be inside except for the main distribution. This is the main on and off breaker. There'll be a couple other breakers located in here. One will be these condensing units. There might be some other what we call heavies, some other heavy circuits located here, but all of your lighting circuits and outlet circuits are in the interior load center, which I'll point out when we get to the basement in a little bit. So this is the main distribution. This is the low volt distribution, meaning this is where Comcast, Xfinity, everybody comes into your property. This is our low volt wiring coming from inside, our cable and telephone wiring and internet. And there'll be what's called a demarc or a panel set here, which everything terminates into. And these feeds go into the main low volt panel inside, which is in your mechanical room, which I'll point out in a bit. This is a grounding wire for the low volt service coming in. So as we start to move around to the back, you can see you've got a pretty nice backyard. This is going to grade out very well. And according to your plot plan, there's a very gentle, 5 to 7% grade back here to the fence line. So the grade is going to be a very gentle, usable backyard. Everything sheet drains to the fence line, so there's no swale cut into the yard for drainage. Everything just naturally flows to the fence line and out into the open space. Other penetrations here in the rear, you see a white pipe. This is your rear hose bib or faucet, exterior faucet for hose. This is a sump pump discharge, which I'll point out inside. You have two sump pump locations in your house, and in walkouts we installed two. One at the front of the basement and one at the rear of the basement. This is the sump pump for the rear. So that will, after we get masonry on and we get to the finals, there'll be a pipe going down and draining onto grade if that sump pump ever does need to discharge. We've got venting coming out of the walls, and those are, one is for makeup air for your kitchen hood, which I'll speak of when we get into the kitchen, and the other is for fresh air going into the furnace room. We've got a bathroom fan penetration, and then we've got siding above, all stone. Everything you see not siding or not stucco base coat will get stone application. As we move around to the rear deck area, you can see your deck coming down. This was the number of steps I was referring to that show in your plot plan. We've got the deck supports in. It's all stone surround on that lower portion. We're going to move on to the rear patio, basement level patio. As you can see here, next to the patio door, we've got an electrical outlet, a waterproof outlet. You've also requested we've got a coach light which goes on the wall. Let me just get to your electric mini here. Oh, you did not. It's upstairs. I recall we have a switched outlet in the cover of the deck. I had it in my mind that it was in the cover of the patio, but we have nothing in the cover of the patio from an electrical standpoint. So here's your covered patio, which is very nice. And we're just going to move around to the north face. This is the north face basement window. That's in the rec room. With a small window well. There's a drain inside of that window well, which I'll speak to in a minute. We do have another low volt penetration, which we'll talk about when we get to low volt. As we stand back and look up, you can see all of the base coat on the stucco is on the north face as well, and around the front. So we're going to let that cure for 7 days. Then we'll be applying the color coat. So as we move up, you can see some penetrations coming out of the wall. They're wrapped in red tape. There are 3 items here. One of them is your front sump pump discharge pipe. That's this one on the right. This is the front sump pump, and that'll turn down to grade. Center one is the sprinkler tee for the irrigation system. So there'll be a vacuum breaker installed here, and this is where the irrigation or the sprinkler system valve box gets installed. And then the other is the front hose bib. So we've got a hose bib over here also, which you can carry your hose around to the front. So we've got sump pump discharge, sprinkler tee, and hose bib. As we move around to the front corner of the single stall garage, you've requested another low volt pre-wire here, which I'll talk about. But you can see another downspout location is here, and that'll kick back to the house down along the outside of the stone and then to grade. In this front of the garage, this is another location where you've requested, centered on the windows, puck lights, which we have those installed. And then up in the upper soffit, we've got the 2 puck lights you've requested, centered in those stucco bays, one on each side. It's kind of hard to see this one between the ladders, but it's there. Also, you can see the upper downspout location. That'll kick back to the wall down, and it'll drain on the low roof, which will come down to this downspout here. Okay, we're going to move into the garage. I'm going to open up the single stall garage first. But before I can just point out here on the front porch, we've got a waterproof outlet down low, and a single porch light, recess can, centered on the porch. So in the single stall garage, we don't have any additional electrical. We have all standard electrical installed. What we've got is power outlets, GFIs on all walls, all 3 walls. And this back wall here, which would be the north side, this is generally, this outlet, half of this outlet is generally used by the landscapers. So your irrigation clock, your time clock will be located here. And wiring going from here to the valve box out there. So this is used for the sprinkler system. But we've got service outlets on the other walls. Also in the ceiling, we've got a light, and we have power, and we have low volt wiring for garage door opener. Those are for the sensors down low. So we've got a light, outlet, and low volt junction box. That's it for the single stall garage. In the 2 stall garage, again, we've got outlets on all walls. The blue boxes are standard outlets that we put in on all walls. We've got lights, 2 lights in the ceiling, garage ceiling. We've got an outlet in the center, and again, low volt wiring for garage door opener. Another request of yours was to have a 70 amp car charger circuit here, and that's what this heavy wire is on this north wall, south wall. So this will be terminated into a box. Also, you'll see a little box down here. This is a ground location, one of your electrical whole house grounding systems. We've got a rod installed. There's a piece of rebar there, which goes all the way down through the foundation into the ground, and that's called a concrete encased electrode, or a UFER ground. and that's our second means of ground. I'll talk about our first means of ground when we get to the basement. This is a little cover plate that goes on there. We need to provide access to this connection, and just in case a grounding issue ever arises, that can be checked to see if there's any issues there. But this is an electric service ground, so there's copper wiring going from the electric service to this Uford ground system. And that's basically it in the garage. Other than you can see, we have got everything tucked behind. We've got things furred out. I'm going to check your options real quick on your option sheet. I happen to have those with me. And we are fully finishing your garage. That means all walls will be insulated, plus the ceiling or the floor of upstairs obviously gets insulated. Plus we'll be drywalling everything. All walls and ceilings will be drywalled, textured, and painted. Because you've selected that option, which I think is a great option. You can see a little extra drop box in this location over here on the ceiling, and the reason for that is right above this location we've got a P-trap, and that is for the master, I believe, or the secondary baths upstairs. But we want to make sure that in that P-trap that we get plenty of insulation below that P-trap so no water will ever freeze. Even though you have an unheated garage, it will stay fairly warm, but we don't want to take any chance of any water that sits in the P-trap of freezing, so we insulate below that P-trap in addition to the whole joist cavity. So it's an added layer, added amount of insulation to make sure that that never freezes. So we're going to walk into the owner's entry. I'm going to stand off to the side for a minute. One of the things you're going to hear me say is, we wire all of our houses very logically. As you enter a space, there's a light switch to turn on a light ahead of yourself. As you exit that space, there's a light switch to turn off behind yourself. And in order to get from one space to another, you travel, and I call those, my term, I just call those lights the travelers. So you'll hear me say that a few times. We're going to start looking at electrical locations now. And as we are in the owner's entry, one of the options you've selected is in this area right here. We have cabinets and countertop here. So this is prepared for that. This is the coat closet. So there'll be rod and shelf in here. I do not have any additional electric. We have service outlets down low, 2 service outlets in the owner's entry. Right inside or outside the garage door there is a 2 box or a 2-gang switch here. One is for the lights in the garage and the other is for the coach lights out front. And that is on a 3-way switch, so you can turn those front of garage coach lights on or off from this location, the owner's entry, or the front door, right inside the front door. So those are on a 3-way switch. As you come in, there's a light switch here again, and that's for your interior lighting, the recessed cans in the ceiling. So you can turn on, you come in, you turn off the garage lights, turn on your entrance lights. And your can in the foyer also turns on with that switch. Off to your left is powder room. Inside the powder room, we've got a 2-gang switch box inside. One is for the light above the mirror, and the other is for the fan. So in the powder room, we've got a stool, a lav. This is an optional CLP, or an optional outlet you've requested at 48 inches off the floor, centered over the sink. I believe you're doing some type of special mirror here, but above the mirror location is our standard light bar location. You see a silver pipe here in this space, and you'll see it's marked photovoltaic power source. I'm just going to point that out so you know where it's run through. This goes all the way from the basement, from the mechanical room up to the attic, and I'll speak to that a little bit later. So in the powder room, as we move out, next to the sink on the wall is service outlet. So as we move from the owner's entry into the foyer grand room, on this side there are 2 switches. One is to turn the traveling lights off behind yourself, and the other is to turn traveling lights on in this hallway or mini foyer area ahead of yourself. We're going to go move to the front entry, and then we'll come back from the front entry into the kitchen and grand room. So we got our travelers on, and you could turn those travelers off behind yourself, again, as you move to this area, but then you'll turn on 3-way switch, and that is to the center chandelier which is, according to your electric mini, centered in the stair space right here. So center chandelier, and that chandelier is on a 4-way, really. You come to the front entry, and you'll see the switch banks here. We've got 2 separate switch banks, and I'll explain those to you in a moment. With the triple here, we've got outside light, outside porch light. We've got the 3-way for the coach lights, and then the other 3-way for 3 of the 4-way for the chandeliers. You can turn the foyer chandelier on or off at this location. The coach lights on or off at this location in conjunction with the owner's entry, or your traveling lights moving to the grand room foyer. The separate box that I have here, I choose a lot of time to separate things. And what we've got here is a switch for the holiday circuit. We've got a switch for the traveling lights going into the hallway to the study. And we also have your outside soffit LEDs switched here. So all of those soffit LEDs in the front are switched here. And I keep those separate so you're not hunting for a switch when you want to turn the foyer light on and you're turning on and off the LEDs. So I've separated the outside circuits, the 2 outside circuits for the holiday circuit and the LEDs, and then your traveling lights moving into the study area. We're going to hold on the study and move from the foyer into the grand room. So we've got one of our foyer traveler lights on. We've got service outlets in the stairwell, basement stairs. We can turn off lights behind ourselves, turn on lights ahead. We've got the thermostat wire location right here on this wall. Also, the door chime will be mounted high here in this hallway. So we've got thermostat and door chime above it. This orange, I should have pointed this out with the photovoltaic. This is another conduit coming from the basement, which I'll speak to a little later. This is a low volt conduit. So as we come into the grand kitchen area, I've got a 4 switch bank here. And I've got the dining fixtures. I've got the pendant lights above the island. Got the mini and the kitchen cans. So we've got a lot of light switches going on here. On this side is to turn off those travelers behind, and then this also turns on travelers ahead. At this location, you requested barn door backing to install a barn door here. All of the heavy framing above is to mount the track to. So we've got barn door backing in. We've shortened up this opening, our standard size, so this is just like the model. So as we move into the kitchen area, I pointed out the 4 switches there. You've requested these 5 ceiling light pre-wires here coming off the edge of the island and spacing them 18 inches apart on your mini. And we have that switch over here as well. So those are switched here as well. So we've got 5 ceiling light pre-wires. We've got all of the kitchen recessed cans. Everything is centered on the range and on the kitchen sink, or excuse me, the prep sink. You've opted for the sink base to be underneath the windows. And then we've got pendant light centered over the island as well. Or a CLP. You're not going to have pendant. CLP centered over the island. We've got power circuits. We're required to have these outlets in place at certain locations around the island, but there is power on all 3 sides of the island. This is your appliance wall here. We've got a double oven location. We've got an 18-inch wine fridge. We've got a refrigerator and side-by-side freezer location. And then we've got corner cabinets here. You see a lot of wires sticking out of the wall. Well, at the double oven, then we've got cabinets above all along here. Refrigerator, freezer, wine fridge. But then this low wire, this is an under cab light for this underside here. So this is under cab lights. All of your outlets requested at 38.5 and horizontally mounted. You'll see above these cabinets all the wires coming out of the top of the wall. And these are for the lights you've requested to be in your cabinets. So when we install cabinets, we're going to install cabinets and we're going to hold the crown mold off. Then I'm going to have the electricians come in and they will drill center of cabinets and they'll install the LED puck lights in the, or not the LED, the puck lights in the top of the cabinets. Then we'll come back after those lights are installed and we'll put the crown molding on the face of the cabinet so nothing will be visible up there. And we've got these wires in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 locations for your request in the kitchen. So all of those are the lights that will go inside the upper cabinets. I believe you have glass doors and shelves. That's what that wiring is for. As I mentioned, the low wiring is under cabinet lighting, and we have got 1, 2, either side of the stove, 3, 4, 5, 6 under cabinet lights in your kitchen. Underneath the window, this is where you've requested your sink to be located, disposal. So that's what this is. This is power for the dishwasher, sink, dishwasher and disposal. Horizontal outlets. We've got power for the range, and this is a dual fuel range, which requires 220 and 110. We've got an air switch wired for the garbage disposal. At the main sink. This is the vent for the cooktop. And you've got an upsized cooktop which requires makeup air. And that's this 10-inch vent with makeup air. This is the wiring for the damper system. I'll explain to you when we get down to the mechanical room. Once you get to a certain CFM in gas production on this range, there's a sensor in the hood which automatically turns on a damper to draw in outside air. And that's so you're not drawing all the room air as you're exhausting, from the cooktop. We're bringing in additional outside air. I'm going to point across the room toward the great room, and that little vent on the wall down there is your makeup air draw. One of the penetrations to the rear of the house. When this hood turns on, the damper opens down below and allows cool air or outside air to be drawn into the space, which then will be exhausted with the cooktop. So we're using more unconditioned air as a draw and an exhaust. We've got a junction box here with 220, 110 power. All the cabinets, all the appliances set up in the kitchen island. This is where we have the prep sink. We've got cabinetry, and we've got an ice maker with a drain located in the island as well. This is the water supply for the ice maker. Drain, we'll be putting the drain into the dishwasher, into this drain line with the prep sink. Water for the prep, all the wiring for the ice box and the outlets and garbage disposal, things like that are in the cabinets, but we tuck them at the island right now. So as we move around to the exterior wall, we have got switch banks here again. We've got a separate switch for all of the upper cabinet puck lights that come into the cabinets, and that's this switch here. We do have some low volt pre-wire, which I'll point out later when we walk low volt. We've got outside switches out on the deck. We've got two switches. One is for the recessed cans in the deck, 4 recessed cans. We've also requested a switched outlet in the ceiling of the deck, and that's what the other switch is for. You can see here we've got the gas barbecue shut-off location and waterproof outlet next to the door. So we've got 4 recessed cans in the ceiling. We've got a switched outlet. Those are the 2 switches up high. And we've got 2 switches here, and those are the 3 ways for the kitchen lights. So as you can turn on kitchen lights at the entry or over here on or off at this location. We've got under cabs and kitchen cans. So as we move over to the great room, I think I've covered everything in the kitchen. We've got the puck lights above the cabinets, the 18-inch apart CLPs at the dining area. And those are all on dimmer switches, by the way. Got horizontal outlets and undercab lighting all in the air switch wiring at the kitchen sink under the window. So in the grand room, these are our grand room switches here. We've got 4 switches. We've got, first of all, we've got a ceiling fan pre-wire in the center of the grand room. We have recessed cans, and I've spaced those recessed cans because you selected the wood beams in the ceiling, and I've spaced those recessed cans between the wood beam and this wall plane on this side, and I've centered on this side between the exterior wall and the wood beam, so those recessed cans are spaced correctly. And then center of the fireplace. So those will all be center between the beams, center between beams and wall space, and center between beam and wall. You've opted for mini cans next to the fireplaces in the niche. That's the other switch there as we come into the great room. So we've got recessed can switch. We've got 4-inch minis on either side of the fireplace. We've got ceiling fan pre-wire plus a half hot. This is the first time I've mentioned a half hot outlet, but in every room we put what we call a half hot outlet. And that'll look, when at the trim stage, it'll be kind of upside down. And that means that half of the outlet is switched and the other is a constant hot. So you can turn that on and off from a switch. If you choose to plug a lamp or some other device into that, you can operate it with the switch. Next to the fireplace, we've got gas shut off, gas log lighter. There'll be a key, that'll be a escutcheon sled on the wall and a key for that. On this side of the fireplace, inside the wall, or inside the niche, this is the switch to turn the fireplace on and off. So this is the operational switch for the fireplace. Service outlets in both niches. We have not done any low volt or pre-wires above the fireplace. There is another low volt pre-wire in this room, which I'll explain when we get to the low volt. But we got no additional power outlets, but we've got service outlets all around this room. So again, the switches here, we've got ceiling fan pre-wire, we've got recessed cans, we've got 4-inch minis on each side of the fireplace, plus the half hot outlet across the room. So now we're going to move back down to the foyer, to the study area. When we come out, we can turn lights on ahead of ourselves, lights off behind ourselves, lights on ahead. Then we come into the single stall garage entry. And inside the garage is a single switch, and that's to turn the lights on inside the garage. As you come in, this door swings this way. There's a light switch here for these traveling lights in the hallway. And that's on a 4-way because we need to operate it from several locations. We can operate it from here, you can operate it from the foyer, and we can operate it from this location outside of the guest bedroom. So that'll turn off lights behind yourself. If you're just coming in this way, you can turn those travelers off behind yourself, enter into the guest bedroom, travelers on ahead of yourself again. We'll go into the bedroom since we're right here. So we're gonna turn these lights on ahead of ourselves. We've got the bathroom, door swings in against this wall. We've got a lab, stool, power outlet next to the lab, light above the mirror. We've got a shower with a poured shower base. You'll have a tile shower base here. You can see the shower head high. Also, you have selected for all windows to be jammed and cased. This will be the exception to that, if I read my options correctly on the NSO list. I'm just going to get to it quickly. And on your NSO list here, we've got the great room beams, but also add traditional window trim and casing all additional windows inside the home, except for main floor guest suite shower window. This one will be drywall wrapped, and there'll be a Corian sill on top of this for the wet area, so that that'll never deteriorate. So that'll be sealed up with a Corian sill. But all other windows in your house do get jam in casing, and I understand that. So as we leave the bathroom, turn the lights off behind ourselves, and we've got some traveling lights on ahead, but as you come into the guest bedroom, another 4 switches here. You've requested 4 recessed cans in the ceiling, so one of the switches for the recessed cans. The other is ceiling fan pre-wire. The other is turn lights off behind yourself, but then the 4th switch is for the half-hot outlet across the room again. So we got service outlets around the room, 4 recessed cans, ceiling fan pre-wire. Then we've got a walk-in closet. As you walk in the closet, the door is going to swing against this wall. There's a light switch inside here for the recessed can in the closet. This gets rod and shelf. No additional electrical. There is low volt, which we'll touch on when we come back to low volt. You've requested a barn door install here. We've got backing above this whole wall here for the barn door track to install to. So this door will slide this way toward the entry. And as you slide that door open, it's 3 switches inside. One is for recessed cans you've requested. The other is there's a ceiling light pre-wire. And the other's for the half-hot across the room. Another option you've requested in here is a floor outlet, and we've located that according to your mini. You've got cabinet built-ins, and it said to put normal outlets inside the cabinets. And against this garage wall is your location for the cabinets, so we'll be cutting that center outlet inside of the cabinet base. You've also requested power up high and low volt, which we'll speak to when we get to the low volt. Oh, that outlet's at 66 inches, by the way. You see a pipe here that I've got written on it, vapor. I'm going to explain that when we get to the basement a little bit later as well. But that's a pipe going from the basement all the way up in through the attic, through the roof. So as we leave the study, you know, you turn off lights ahead of yourself. We've got a light switch on either side for your travelers. And we're going to move around. We're going to start making it up the stairs. Now you've elected to have stair lights on both staircases. You can see we've got 4 step lights going up, 1 on each landing and then 2 centered in the run of the stairs. That switch is on that wall, on the foyer wall also. So it's on the 3-way from bottom to top. We're going to go up, your stair lights are on, and or your foyer fixture is on. Coming up to the top of the stairs, we've got a bunch of switches at the top, and those are our 3-ways, which I was mentioning. You can turn off the foyer light behind yourself, turn off the step lights behind yourself. Then, guess what? We got travelers ahead of ourselves. So we got traveling cans. We got a smoke detector location. Pardon the noise. Got a smoke detector location here. As we move into the loft, these lights are on with that switch. These recessed cans, these are travelers again. And as we move into the secondary bedroom areas, we've got additional recessed cans here, and those are operated independently at this switch bank. So we've got the recessed cans above the windows, and we turn off the travelers behind ourselves, turn on travelers ahead of ourselves, and a half-hot across the room. There's additional low volt up here, which we'll speak about, and no other electrical. So we've got recessed cans, optional. Service outlet, service outlet, service outlet, half-hot. And then low volt pre-wire, service outlet. So we've got travelers ahead of ourselves, and in this hallway, as we work our way in, we've got secondary bath with 2 lavs, double lavs, power on each wall, 2 switches coming in. One is for the lights above the mirror. Got a linen closet at the end. 2 switches into the tub shower. We've got a stool and a tub shower combination with a recessed can centered over the tub. So 2 switches. One is for the recessed can, the other is for the fan, which is vented up through the roof. So as we come back, we're headed into bedroom number 3. Again, switch here, you can turn the traveling lights off behind yourself. As we come into the bedroom, door swings this way. 3 switches in here because you've requested a ceiling fan pre-wire. You've also requested 4 recessed cans plus the half hot across the room. Thus the need for the 3 switches. So we got service outlets, 4 service outlets around the room. We got a walk-in closet, door swings against the wall, single light switch for the recessed can in the closet. We move our way into bedroom 2. Come in, door swings against this wall. We got 3 switches again, and that's due to 1 switch for your optional recessed cans, 1 switch for the optional ceiling fan pre-wire, the other for, again, a half hot across the room. Surface outlets on all walls. Walk-in closet with a single switch inside and a recessed can. Smoke detectors, all locations. We're going to make our way down the hallway. We're going to pass the upper mechanical room, which I'm going to stop at for a moment. We're turning the lights on and off behind ourselves as usual. This is the upstairs mechanical room. So this is the furnace that services just this upper level, just the top floor. So this is the heating unit. This will be explained to you in great detail at your new homeowner orientation, how things operate. But we've got power, gas, this is thermostat wiring. We've got a drain pan to collect, we've got drain pipes to take any and all condensate water from air conditioning down to the basement drain, which I'll point out when we get down there. So this is the air handler for the top floor, all of the bedrooms. And as we move toward the master suite, we've got 4-way switch to turn lights off behind yourself and lights on ahead. Laundry room. Move into the laundry. We got 2 switches inside. One is for the overhead light, and the other is for the fan. We've got washer dryer location, 220 and 110 power in the laundry. We've also requested gas line for dryer, and that gas line is right here, and the connection point is inside the dryer box. So the gas connection will be in here, and the vent will be right here, and then power for the dryer. Washing machine, washer box, drain line, power for the wash machine, and we put a washer pan on the floor. This is a drain line which goes all the way down to the basement floor drain, which I'll point out when we get down there. Power outlets above countertop height. You've opted for laundry tub. That's this location, water, service, and drain line. Power outlet above countertop height. This is the location also where we build and install the attic access. Inside this access, you'll be able to see there's a power outlet up there, a service outlet, and a light. There'll be a cord that comes down and you can pull to turn that light on, and a service outlet that can be used for many things in that attic, which I'll explain a little bit more later. So we're turning off lights behind ourselves as we come into the master suite. Linen storage on your left, traveling lights ahead of yourself. You've opted for an additional 4-inch mini can, so that switch is located at that location. As we move into the master suite, turn your 4-inch, turn your light off behind yourself. But then in here we've got 3 more lights, 3 more switches. We've got a ceiling fan pre-wire. We've got minis up in all the mini cans up in the coffer. And then we have mini cans on either side of this window and mini cans in the sitting area. So the sitting area we have switched independently. So from the entrance of the master bedroom, 4 switches here. We've got 4-inch minis. We've got the mini cans above the window. We've got the ceiling fan pre-wire, and we've got the half hot across the room. So we've got mini cans, half hot outlet, and ceiling fan. In the sitting area, we've broken this lighting up independently. And that is located next to the exterior door. We've got exterior recessed cans in the ceiling. We also have a waterproof outlet in the ceiling. That's located right here. And then the 4-inch mini cans again in the sitting area. Those are switched from that door wall. Fireplace in the sitting area. We got power on both sides. This is the on-off switch for the fireplace. And a gas valve again on that face just to the left of the firebox. Additional outlet and low volt. That takes care of the master bedroom and sitting area. So, you've got hall lights turning on ahead of yourself again, and then you turn off hall lights behind yourself as you enter the bathroom area. Other switching is here. We've got 4 switches, and they're separated through CLP, which are the lights next to or above the vanities. We've got CLPs above this vanity, CLPs above this vanity, and CLPs above the sitting area on this vanity. So we got vanity, power outlet, lights on either side of all 3 areas. This 4-gang switch box inside, we've got the tub light. Over the tub, we've got CLP and recessed cans. CLP is an option. We have got the vanity lights. We got the shower cans and the tub cans. So 4 switches here, plus CLP. 1 CLP above the tub, recessed cans above the tub, recessed cans in the shower, and your traveling lights. In the shower, in the master shower, got a handheld shower on both ends, above the seat as you're requested. We've got diverter valves on our center triangle tree, shower heads and diverters for 2 rain heads, one on either side of the centered light fixture. In the master closet, you come in, there's a light switch on the wall inside the master closet. We've got 4 recessed cans in the master closet, plus a floor outlet, plus a floor outlet centered for your diagram. So recessed can lighting. Walking back through the master bathroom. Master stool room. As you enter, the door swings against the wall, 2 switches inside. One is for the light, one is for the fan. That pretty much wraps up the upstairs. We're going to walk back to the top of the stairs, and then we're going to pause and head for the basement. So as you come out, lights on behind, off behind, on ahead. As you're traveling, just moving through the house. And here we are at the bridge. We're going to pause here at the bridge, and we'll move to the basement. Okay, getting ready to go down to the basement. As you open the door, there are 2 switches here. One is for the light. There's a light under each landing, stair landing, or above each stair landing, however you choose to turn that. The other is for the step lights going down. Again, we got 1 at each landing and 2 centered in the run of the stairs. So we got the lights on ahead of ourselves, down to the bottom. And then we got 4 switches right at the base of the stairs. One of those switches is to turn off the overhead lights. The other is to turn off the step lights. And the other is to move ahead in our travelers. The 4th one, is per your request. We've got a 4-inch mini can located here at the base of the stairs. So that's the reason for 4 switches. We can turn off or on steps and landing lights. Turn on our travelers in the hallway, and on off with the optional 4-inch mini. So we got travelers on. We're going to head to the rec room. So turn off lights behind ourselves. Also, you could turn off the mini behind yourself. Come around the corner. We're into the rec room. The switches are on this wall here. And there's a 4-gang switch here. for a box of switches. We have got recessed cans at the wet bar. We've got pendant lights at the wet bar. We've got recessed cans here and the traveler behind yourself. So at the wet bar location, you can see we've got power on the rec room side. There's a 12-inch, I believe, overhang on this upper countertop. Power underneath on the wet bar. We've got a sink location, refrigerator location, power above the countertop on this end, and 3 pendants, and we have divided the countertop length. Our standard wiring is divided by 3. So we've got them spaced in thirds, so they're evenly spaced. They're centered just off this wall because you got a 12-inch overhang and you don't want people hitting their heads on those lights. So we center them on the wall. On the back wall, we've got horizontal outlets. We've got optional under cabinet lighting. We also have up high wires coming through the ceiling, which will be puck lights down into those upper cabinets per your request. So that's what these wires are. We're going to drywall, we're going to hang cabinets, then we're going to drill the tops of those cabinets, bring the wires through, install the pucks, push them back in, and install a crown mold on the face of the cabinets. This is wet bar location. So in the unfinished space behind the wet bar, as we walk into this unfinished space, there's one light switch here. We've got overhead lights. Got a lot going on in here. This is the main location for the water service coming into the house. We finally refer to this as the water tree. And I had mentioned in the garage an electrical grounding wire that looked like this bare copper one here. That one goes to the electric service. This is our second means of grounding. We ground from the water service, which comes from the street. That's securely mounted on the water line, and it bypasses everything on both sides of the copper. That goes out as a separate ground. So there's 2 separate ways that your house is grounded to prevent any electrical charges or shocking or anything like that. A lot of water valves coming on here. This is the main water shutoff from the street. Then we have got a booster pump. Up on the top of this hill, there are many houses. I think we got about 20 houses that we are installing a booster pump. And that's because the water pressure is a little bit low coming from the street. So we're increasing the water pressure. This allows us to adjust that water pressure to make sure that we've got enough water pressure to run all your fixtures and you're not getting little dribbles out of your master shower. So this is a booster pump to increase the water pressure. A lot of valves to isolate the booster pump, to isolate the pressure regulating valve. This here is the irrigation sprinkler valve line. We can isolate that. And then the main house, this is the main house water line. This goes to the mechanical room and then all branches off from there. So we've got a lot going on. This will be explained in more detail at your orientation. We've got a power outlet here for the pump. Also, this is a location for the upper or the front sump pump. This is the power for the sump pump, and off to the side, out on the north side, you remember it pointing out the sump ejection pipe. Well, this is the for this sump pump. We will be installing a sump pump at this location. This will all connect. Inside the foundation, we've got a complete interior perimeter drain system. We've split the high point, mechanical room, anything that may percolate up through the ground or any precipitation that would get down 6-8 feet would travel under the walls, collect in that drain system. It comes to, we have this little cap right here on the wall is clean out for the under drain line, which goes to the street. So all of the drain system does go to the city storm, but then we have it in a sump pump as well, a sump pit, so that it's as a backup system. If there ever be a 100-year flood, water could come up, could come down, but it'll be running through the main drain system to the city storm, and then a backup for the sump systems. It's mainly a backup pump system. We do have another one in the back, which I'll point out. This is the vapor pipe, which I pointed out upstairs. On top of the interior drain system, we have a pipe mounted. And what that's for is any underground vapor that there may be will collect naturally in the drain pipe and then naturally vent up gas rises. Any gases or any vapors that come under the ground will naturally find its way up through the vapor pipe, all the way up through the attic and through the roof. So that's the vapor pipe, to collect any underground vapor. Unfinished space here, just for storage. There are 2 ceiling lights in this location. Also, the main sewer from the street comes in at this location also. So we've got our main drops here, plus on the other side of the house. This is a sewer line going to the city. This is a clean out location, so there'll be a cap on there, but if you would ever need to snake or rotor route to the street, there is a location or an access for that. As we move from the wet bar area to the main rec room, you see we've got service outlets all around the room. We've got low volt free wire. You have requested a power outlet on this wall centered between the beam drop and the outside wall at 66 inches. That's here. We've got speakers. We'll come back and speak to low volt. We've got power outlets all around the room. We've got 2 switches at the patio door. One is for the outside light, and the other is a 3-way you can turn lights on as you're entering or exiting the to or from the patio. So you can turn lights off behind yourself if you're going to go out and sit, or turn them on as you're coming back in. Outside, I pointed out, we have an outside waterproof outlet. We've got service outlets around the room. There are 2 switches on this wall here. One is to operate the recessed cans in this area of the rec room on this side of the drop beam, and that side of the drop mechanical area operate independently. So we've got recessed cans operation here, also a hallway ahead of ourselves going into bedroom 5. We'll look at the low volt when we come back down. So we're turning on travelers ahead of ourselves. We've got a wireless access point. I know that's the WAP. We've got recessed can in the lower drop ceiling, recessed cans in the bedroom foyer. 3-way switch to turn off lights behind yourself. Enter the bathroom, 2 switches in the bathroom. One is for the light above the shower. You've got a poured shower pan. Shower head, we place them pretty high, 84 inches. So even for 6'1" guys like me, that shower head's above my head. And we've got a light above the mirror. So we've got a lav, the power outlet next to the lav, light above the mirror, stool. There is a fan and light switch. Both lights come on with 1 switch and fan. As we exit the bathroom, we'll move into bedroom 5. Come into bedroom 5, there are 2 switches, and one is to turn on recessed cans. We have 2 recessed cans on this side of the steel beam drop and 2 recessed cans on this side. So you can turn on recessed cans plus a half-hot outlet at the back corner. This is the second location of our second sump pump. So this will all be drywalled. There will be a wood lid on top, and then an access door, a wood access door, which swings up for service or access to the sump pump. Power is inside. We got power in front of the bench. In this model and one other model, we install a bench. Got a walk-in closet. Light switch on the inside for a recessed can in the walk-in closet. You've also requested power outlet at 66 inches above, and that's in conjunction with your low volt here. So that's our optional outlet at 66. We'll move around in the mechanical room. So you can turn lights off behind yourself, turn lights on ahead of yourself as you travel through this area. And you can turn off, turn on, come into the unfinished mechanical room. As we walk straight into the mechanical room, lights, door swings this way, light switch here for the overhead lighting. You see, this is the other main sewer drop or drain line drop in the house. Got one on each side of the house. Another clean out there, so a snake can be run over to that main drop, which then goes to the street. Got overhead lighting. This is the location that we have put your I-wired low volt panel at. You know, GT had this drawn behind the wet bar, Deborah, and that really wasn't a convenient location for the wiring nor for you. In my opinion, all of your servicing needs need to happen in one room. That way you can use that room independently behind the wet bar for special storage or other things you want to do in there. But we've located the low volt panel here. This is where all the low volt in your whole house terminates, and the wiring going to the outside connection comes into here. So feeds come in from the outside to this location, and then everything is coiled here. This will all be connected at the end, most of it before you move in, but then there'll be an appointment after you move in for them to come in and take care of what you need to take care of. You've selected an interior load center, and this is the location of all of your interior lighting and circuitry breakers. So everything will be labeled. Right now we just have some temporary. We've got the furnaces wired and breakered, and we've got a sub feeder and a furnace in case we need to get, we do this on every house so that as we get cooler in the season, if we need to fire up furnaces for workers as we get through and past drywall, we're able to do that. So this will be inspected next week by the city as well, and then they'll release our permanent meter, which we can get installed. This is the main location for the air handler, furnace, and air conditioning for the basement and the main level. This is larger than the one on the top level, but this services the basement and the main level. This is the location for your dual tankless hot water heaters. We've got gas lines coming down for both, gas line for the furnace, and these are the water lines. The vents, as I pointed out in the back of the house, these are the vent, or on the side of the house, these are the vents for the hot water heater. The furnace as well goes out. This is an anti-scald device, which is required for us to put in, and this goes to the master bathtub. This regulates the temperature of the water going to the master tub. In most instances, full open will be just fine, but we're required to put this in so that no children could ever get scalded by being able to turn on that master tub and to scald themselves with extra hot water. I had mentioned that we've got drains coming down to the main floor drain in the mechanical room. This, you can see this furnace, this condensate line comes to the drain. These are the condensate lines coming from the upstairs furnace. Condensate coming down. We also have the ice maker, and then this drain line goes all the way from the second floor. This is from your washing machine, washer pan that we put in your laundry room, your laundry drain, and it comes all the way down here as well. And that's the overflow emergency drain line. That drains down here as well. I had mentioned a couple of things while we were upstairs. One was photovoltaic, and the other was that orange pipe. This is the conduit from the low volt side that goes all the way to the attic. And there's a pull string inside that conduit all the way up into the attic. If you ever needed to get low volt wiring up to the attic, where maybe you wanted to make an add or a change into that top floor somewhere in the bedroom, it'd make it much easier. You could pull a new wire all the way up and then go into the attic, light up in the attic. You can go find the bedroom or whatever you wanted to do, but this provides that opportunity. Also is the photovoltaic conduit, which I pointed out. I'm looking for my termination here. Bear with me. But that photovoltaic line comes down into this room also. And that's in case if you would ever choose to put solar panels on your roof, that conduit, oh, here it is over here. The conduit goes all the way up into the attic, and here is the termination of that photovoltaic line. And if you ever wanted to install solar, obviously your controls and water lines would run into this mechanical room area, and then any wiring that needs to happen, they can just take right up through that conduit up into the attic. You wouldn't have to be cutting open drywall or anything like that. So this is the photovoltaic conduit, and then we have the low volt conduit going from the mechanical or the service area up into the attic. that pretty much wraps up the basement. I think I've covered everything that I needed to. We're gonna pause, and then we're gonna walk through the house, outside and inside, with the low volt diagram to make sure I've got all locations correct. And so we're gonna pause now, and then we're gonna move to low volt. Okay, Deborah, here I am outside again, and I've got your low volt diagrams with me that you generated with JT at iWired, and we're going to point out all your low volt locations. This should only take a few minutes, but it would have been real lengthy on previous. So outside, the only things you have are at this location, you've got a camera pre-wire, and then you've got an additional camera pre-wires on the other garage corner, which I'll point out to you. You do have some in the rear, but we'll catch those when we go to the basement. We'll poke our heads out, and I'll show you those two at the rear as well. We've got camera location here on this front corner and around the corner too. Got one on each side. Those are your camera pre-wires, yellow wire. So now we'll move right inside. We're going to go in the front entry. So as we come in the front entry, we have nothing in the foyer. You haven't requested any security pre-wire, but in the foyer of the study, you've got a wireless access point, and that's this blue wire in the ceiling right here. Then in the study, you have requested underneath the window, two speakers located centered on the window, one here and one back inside the door. You've also requested a CP here at 66, and CP, if you're following along with your diagram, there's a little legend here. A CP is a phone, data, and satellite port, and power next to it. So we got two speakers and a CP location. In the guest bedroom, you've also requested a CP, phone, data, and satellite port, and that's down low here on the adjoining bathroom wall. That's it for the study. And in the guest bedroom, nothing in the foyer. We'll move around to the kitchen, where we've got a few things going on in the kitchen. First thing is we've got right here this yellow wire in the ceiling in the blue box is a wireless access point. We've got a T1 location here above countertop, right at this location, and the T1 is a phone and data port. Okay. Also, you've requested two ceiling speakers, one located here, and one located at the window location in front of the window over here. So those are your two speaker locations. Wireless access point, two speakers. Wireless, yep. In the grand room, we've got the C63s up on the high wall on the back side. And those are the C63 speakers. And the other item is a CP, phone, data, and satellite port at this location behind the owner's entry wall, behind the cabinets. And that's it for the grand room and downstairs. We've got the study, guest bed, kitchen, grand room. Nothing above fireplace, nothing next to the fireplace. Let's move upstairs. At the top of the stairs, I believe I pointed out a little bit earlier, got a right in front of the loft, we've got a wireless access point in the ceiling. Let me just check that. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. In the loft, we also have a CP, phone, data, satellite port on the adjoining bedroom wall. I'm going to look for this WAP. Oh, I found it. We've got it right at this master entry. Here's the wireless access point. It must have felt that this was a little better location than out by the loft. So into the master bedroom and master sitting room, you requested speakers up in the coffer, 2 speaker locations. And then at the master sitting area, you've got a CP, a data, satellite, and phone port. In the master bathroom, we have 2 speaker locations for your drawing. They're right here, one here, and one here. No other low volt in the upstairs. Bedroom 2, bedroom 3. I do not see any low volt pre-wires requested. So master bath speakers, master bedroom speakers, and the CP with the WAP and the CP in the loft. So now we'll head down to the basement, and I'll point out 2 other items outside in the rear as well. You want to pause, Greg? Okay, so we're in the basement, in the rec room, and you requested 5 ceiling speaker locations down here. 2 in the back, 1 here, 1 here. We've got 3 on this wall, 1 centered, 2 evenly spaced. You've requested a tube, conduit tube from the low CP. We have a CP and a conduit tube here. We also have, and that's at 66 inches. And then over on this corner down low, this is the subwoofer location. You always have those low, sometimes in the front, sometimes in the rear. So we've got 5 speakers, a CP location with tube, and the subwoofer location. In the hallway, going into bedroom 5, we've got a wireless access point here, and that's here on the drop ceiling, wireless access point. And then we get into bedroom number 5, and you've got 2 speaker locations in the ceiling, right in front of the beam, 1 here, 1 here, and then a CP location at 66 per request on the backside of the mechanical room. And as I had mentioned, JT had drawn that that MSWP is your panel location. He's got that drawn behind the stairs there and back in that area. It just really isn't a good area for access, for work, for additions. And I always put them in the unfinished mechanical room, and I hope you're good with that, because I think you're going to be pleased with that location. It also frees up just special use there behind the wet bar. So that is it, other than pointing out outside. You have 2 rear camera locations. So we're going to go outside the patio door and point those 2 camera locations out to you. One is on the north side. And that's here, 9 feet off the floor. That's 1 camera location. And the other is outside of bedroom 5. Again, 9 feet above the floor. You can see the yellow wire box. That's the rear camera on this corner. So you've got cameras on the front, cameras on the back, on the outside. And that pretty much wraps it up, Deborah. We've been through the outside, the grading, the plot plan. Talked about no window grids on your house. We've got the exterior moving along. I will be with the city of Broomfield going through inspections the week of the 21st, and then moving right to insulation and drywall stocking behind. And what that means in terms of schedule, as I mentioned, by the end of September we'll be well into drywall. October, November, and December are finishes. We're looking at your house completing in January. I don't have an exact timeline yet, but Kyle will be in touch with you after last week. I give him weekly updates. If you need to touch base with him, please do. But we will be able to tell you as we go forward. Once we get to cabinet stage, after inspections, after insulation, after drywall is done, and after we set cabinets. Cabinets are our hinge pin to the closing cycle. If something comes or doesn't come in the cabinet stage, that really has a major impact on the rest of the house finishes. If a cabinet is back ordered or the island is back ordered, we can't measure countertops, which slows countertops, which slows plumbing trim, which slows electrical trim. If there's no issues at cabinets, we'll be able to narrow that closing timeline pretty closely. But then 30 days out from what we're projecting your closing, Kyle will be communicating with you to get everything settled and happening. But right now, this house is trending into January. And like I say, I can't specifically say right at this time what time frame in January, but we'll know here in a couple of weeks. We'll be able to communicate a little bit more closely in narrowing that timeline. So again, if you have any questions, any issues, please communicate with Kyle. He and I are talking every day, emailing every day, texting every day about many things. So please come out this weekend. And now that I have all wiring done, bring your diagrams with you. Make sure I haven't missed anything. If there's any items that I need to adjust, let Kyle know as quickly as possible so that I can make those adjustments before we go to drywall. It's been nice spending some time with you today, and thanks for taking time to view this video. Talk to you soon.